Hi everyone, welcome to Delights to Share, and today I'll be sharing with you a recipe for blueberry tart, pasta frola style. For those of you that may not know, pasta frola is a very popular dessert in South America, made with a shortbread crust and quince jelly as the filling. So what I did was just switch the quince jelly for blueberry preserves. It's a very easy recipe to make and absolutely delicious. So let's get started. First, I preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm using a tart pan with a removable bottom, which I've buttered and floured. Next, in a medium bowl, I mix the dry ingredients: 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 3/4 cup of sugar, a 1/4 cup of cornstarch, and a teaspoon of baking powder. I mix this well with a wire whisk and I set it aside. Then I cut into small cubes 11 tablespoons of cold butter, or margarine if you prefer. That's about 1 1/3 sticks. I add it to the dry ingredients, and with my hands I dust the butter with the flour mixture, and then I begin to squeeze all the bits of butter into the flour until it's blended and the mixture looks yellowish and grainy in texture. Next, I add 2 beaten eggs, except for about 2 teaspoons that we're going to use later once the tart is assembled. So let's set those 2 teaspoons of beaten egg aside. Here we go. I then add a teaspoon of vanilla, and with a spoon I begin mixing everything until it forms a stiff dough. It'll take a few minutes to blend since there is much more flour than liquids, but it will eventually all come together into this dough. At this point, I cover it with plastic wrap and I refrigerate it for about 30 minutes until the dough hardens some more. Once I removed it from the fridge, I'll want to divide the dough into 2 pieces. It helps to roll the dough into a tube so I can visualize it into thirds. I cut off 1/3, and that will be used for the lattice top. The remaining 2/3 of the dough will be used to make the crust. So I just push down gently and spread the dough all throughout the pan. As you can see, it's very malleable, and it's a good idea to dust your hands continuously with flour. And here I am continuing to form the dough all the way towards the edge. Once it gets to the edge, I just push the dough and form the side crust. At this point, I add the blueberry preserves. I'm using the Trader Joe brand, which is low in sugar, but you can use any preserve or jam, or even blueberry filling works well. I remove it with a rubber spatula, but then I use a fork to break up the pieces and spread it out more easily. This is what it should look like. Now I bring back that 1/3 of the dough I had set aside for the lattice top, and I like to divide this into 2 more pieces. One is going to be for all the strips going in one direction, and the other half is going to be for all those strips going in the opposite direction. Here you see me cutting it once more, only because it's easier to roll the smaller the piece. Basically, I roll the dough between my hands or the surface, constantly dusting my hands and the surface with flour. And I roll it so that it's about 1/2 inch thick, or a little bit more than 1 centimeter. When I've reached the desired length, I just pinch off the excess. And I'm going to put this other half aside for later. And I'll bring back the tart. This first strip will go right at the center. And as you can see, it's very malleable. All I need to do is just pinch it on the edges and it sticks. And I just tear off any excess piece. I continue making strips until I've cleaned the entire surface of the tart. And now I bring back the other half of the dough for the strips that go in the opposite direction. As you can see, I don't need a knife, it just pinches right off. And when I put this strip, I put it at a diagonal. And this gives a diamond effect between the dough, as you can see here. Remember those 2 teaspoons of beaten egg we had set aside? Well, now I use it to paint the lattice, top, and the edges, which will give it a nice glossy finish when it's baked. At this point, I can go ahead and place it in the oven for 25 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And here's our baked blueberry tart, pasta frolla style. I let it cool for an hour. Once it's cooled, I can remove the tart pan sides and then the bottom of the pan in order to place it on the dish. You can serve the tart just as it is now, since the egg wash gave it a nice appearance already. But I like to add powdered sugar all over the tart. Okay, I'm ready to serve a slice. It's a relatively soft crust, not at all hard nor crunchy, which makes it very easy to serve. Here we go. And if you look at the slice from the side, here, let me lift it a little bit. You'll see that the crust is about the same thickness as the blueberry filling, making a nice balance of both flavors. Okay, time to taste it now. I wish I could share a slice with you. It's absolutely delicious, melts in my mouth. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and leave me any comments or questions in the comment section below. Also, please subscribe to my channel where I'll be sharing with you a new recipe every Thursday. Thanks for watching and bye for now.